What's going on? DJ Dubs here with AB Boxing. I'm with the world-renowned ring announcer Dave Diamante. Thanks for hanging out with us at the I Have a Dream 2019 Spring Gala. There's a lot of things that's happened today. The news has been crazy. Eddie Hearn has announced that the Anthony Joshua Ruiz 2 will be happening. Do you think it will be in the UK? Do you think it'll be in the United States? What's your personal opinion?
Well, I don't have an opinion on it. It's really whatever those guys come up with. Whatever makes dollars is going to make sense. So I'm waiting to see. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great. I think the world will be watching.
All right. I know you've done a lot of fights, just historically. Where does Ruiz Joshua rate?
Well, as far as an upset, you mean, or just as far as a fight?
I mean, electricity inside of the room.
No, it's as good as any of them, man. I mean, when you're at the Garden in New York City, it's really the top of the world, man. It's really nowhere else. I mean, that's why it's called the Mecca of Boxing. It's the Mecca of sports and entertainment. It's the world's most famous arena. And when you've got the most famous title in the world, the heavyweight championship of the world on the line, I mean, there wasn't an empty seat in the house. So it was electric. Incredible.
Do you think that, or did you hear any talk of Anthony Joshua having a concussion prior to that fight, like in training?
No, and I don't know anything about that. So all those questions got to go to AJ or Eddie Hearn. I don't know anything about any of that. I mean, from what I understand, no. But
do you think that Ruiz Joshua 2 will be bigger than the first fight?
100%. 100%. I think it'll be massive.
In your opinion, of course, this is just your opinion, do you think it'll go to PBC or DAZN?
Again, I don't have anything to do with any of that, but from what I understand, it will be DAZN.
What do you think DAZN is doing for boxing as a whole, as a sport?
Well, I think their model is great because what they're giving is value for money. So it's like, for $100 a year, you get over 100 events. I mean, there's so much stuff that's going on DAZN, so many different fights. And you just look at the roster that Matching Boxing is doing. We're doing fights on both sides of the pond. We're doing fights all over the UK, we're doing fights all over America. Then you've also got Bellator, you've got Golden Boy, you've got Triple G on there now. You've also got snooker, gymnastics, MLB. There's just a lot of stuff. So I think it's really the wave of the future. That's why I decided to be with them.
They've got you exclusively, you and Mr. Mike Buffer. What's it like working with Michael Buffer and being consistently with him?
Well, I've known Michael for a really long time, and we've worked together for a very long time, way before this deal ever happened. So he's a close friend of mine, and this morning he was texting me, and I'm not going to tell you he was texting me, but it wasn't boxing related, it was friendly related. He's a buddy of mine. So it's great. It's like working with a good friend, but it's also working with a good friend who is a consummate professional and who knows a ton about the sport. So I really appreciate working with him. It couldn't be better. It's a lot of fun.
I know I asked you this privately, off camera, but you're a ring announcer. Your voice is your gold.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a touch of laryngitis, or you're sick, or something of, I'm this honest question. I know you guys are laughing out there, but what do you do in that situation?
Well, you just gotta grind through it. It's really rare for that to happen. I try to protect my voice, but it has happened on a low level. For Michael, you talk about Michael, one of the biggest fights in history that ended out to be kind of a fizzle, the Pacquiao-Mayweather. They split up the duties between Jimmy and Michael had done so many interviews that week, his voice was cooked. And if you remember that fight, he could barely screech out his words. So it can happen. We're all human, But I try to take really good care of myself. I try to stay fit. I work out and try to stay healthy. So usually that's not an issue.
Can you please tell all the boxing fans out there why they need to sign up to DAZN?
Well, they don't. It's up to you, whatever you guys want to do. But if you're a real fight fan, you're going to do it. Because if you look at some of the people that we have on, just this last fight card, guys like Callum Smith, guys like Pretty Boy Kelly, guys like Joshua Buatsi, a woman like Katie Taylor, Jessica McCaskill, who just fought the week before. I mean, there's all these great fighters. You know, we're coming not this week, but next week we'll be in London. Ted Cheeseman is at the York Hall in Bethnal Green in London, so we've got a great show there from top to bottom. You know, guys like Charlie Edwards, who just won a title. We had that great show out in LA with the Superflies. I mean, there's just so many great fights. We've got a show coming up with Demetrius Andre in Rhode Island from Providence. So there's just so many great fights, and this is where it's going. And of course Canelo, and of course Triple G, and all these other guys. So I think it's for value for money. I mean, it makes sense.
Do you think Katie Taylor won that fight?
You know what? I didn't judge the fight. I think a lot of people feel like she didn't. But either way, I think they're going to do a rematch. And either way, I think Katie Taylor's a champion. So I'm a big fan of hers. I think Delphine Persoon is incredibly tough. She seemed to get some really good shots in there. But that's not really how you judge a fight. So I didn't sit there with a scorecard and do it. I was ringside for it, but a lot of the time I was doing other stuff. I wasn't able to fully focus on the fight the whole time. So it would not be fair to me to give a score of that fight. But I think the fight was very close.
Very close. Very close fight.
I'd say it was very close. And I think a lot of pundits, from what I hear, say that Delphine won. But again, I'm not a judge. I did not score that fight. I'd have to sit down with pen and paper, and I could score it, but I did not score it.
Everybody saw your Instagram post. Ruiz.
Yeah.
Ruiz.
Yeah.
Knocking down. That was the first time he went down.
Yeah, so that shot was taken by Anthony Cosney from the New York Post.
Okay.
And he came to me after the fight and he's like, dude, I have like an historic shot and you're right in the middle of it. He's like, it's amazing. You need to see it. I'm like, yeah. And he sent it to me and I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.